Your cholesterol levels are creeping up and your doctor suggests some medications, but you want to avoid the side effects of those medications. So you're wondering what lifestyle changes you can make to bring down your cholesterol levels naturally. That's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. Fortunately, there are many different approaches that all work to lower your testosterone levels. In broad categories, one is nutrition, one is exercise. Let's start with nutrition. In one meta-analysis, when people were given 10 grams of fiber on top of what they were already getting, their total cholesterol levels dropped by an average of 7%. Their LDL cholesterol dropped by an average of 13%. And unfortunately, their HDL dropped by an average of 1.57%. Now, that's not a lot, and that's not good either, but the benefits of the larger drops in total cholesterol and LDL were far outweigh the minimal drops in HDL-C. So how much fiber should you be eating? That's the ultimate question. For people who are not diabetics, they need about 14 grams per 1,000 calories. In other words, if you eat 2,000 calories per day, you need 28 grams. If you eat 3,000 calories per day, you need 42 grams, and so on. The other way to figure out your fiber requirements is basically you divide your ideal body weight by 4. And so let's say you think your ideal body weight is 160 pounds, you should be getting about 40 grams of fiber per day. And if you're wondering, what's the best source of fiber? A lot of people think it's vegetables. Vegetables are actually not that great of a source of fiber. They're a minor source of fiber, but there are far better sources than vegetables. For example, 1 cup of spinach only brings you less than 1 gram of fiber. But if you need 40 grams, spinach won't get you there. And so what are the best sources? All the sources that I'm about to list have at least 5 grams per serving or more. So here are some examples. Buckwheat, quinoa, beans, especially black beans, peas, lentils, chickpeas, and that's from the starch family. From the fruit family, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. There are also seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. These are all rich sources of fiber. And of course, dried fruits are a source of fiber, a very good source of fiber. Dates, prunes, and figs are fantastic sources of fiber at about 3 grams of fiber per two dates or figs or prunes. So pretty rich. So improving your fiber intake is one way to improve your cholesterol levels. A different way to improve your cholesterol levels is to increase your fish intake. And I specifically say fish, not just omega-3. Why is that? In one study, 95 dyslipidemic individuals were divided into 2 groups. And before I tell you what those 2 groups are, let's define that term, dyslipidemic. That means bad cholesterol levels. And it just doesn't mean high cholesterol levels, it means bad cholesterol levels. That means when your HDL is low, that's also dyslipidemic. And when your LDL and total cholesterol are high, that's also dyslipidemia. And so what were the 2 groups? Group number 1 received omega-3 supplements, 2 grams per day. Group number 2 ate 250 grams of trout twice a week. And here's what happened after 8 weeks. The total cholesterol decreased by 6% in the omega-3 group, but 27% in the fish group. The LDL cholesterol increased by 16% in the omega-3 group, but decreased by 17% in the fish group, the trout group. HDL cholesterol increased by 11% in the omega-3 group and increased by 24% in the fish group. Finally, triglycerides decreased by 11% in the omega-3 group and 29% in the fish group. So it's not just omega-3, it's specifically fatty fish. Trout, herring, salmon, these are all examples of fatty fish. So one mechanism is, yes, they're high in omega-3, but there are other mechanisms besides omega-3 that improve dyslipidemia. So it's not just a high omega-3 content, it's a high fish diet. How much fish should you be getting? 300 grams per week of non-fried fatty fish. So that's the second way of improving your cholesterol levels. Another way of improving them is a moderate nut diet. In one systematic review that compared different nuts, amounts, and durations lasting 3 to 9 weeks, they found that on average, nuts reduce total cholesterol by between 3 and 16%. LDL is reduced by 2 to 19%. Triglycerides by about 10%, and HDL is increased by an average of 6%. And again, these are averages. It varies nut by nut, whether it's almonds or cashews or pecans or pistachios or macadamia nuts, etc. But all nuts are good for your cholesterol levels and your lipids. What about sugar? Is it really as bad as they say? And the answer is yes. In one meta-analysis, when sugary drinks were removed from the diets of dyslipidemic people, their triglycerides decreased by 10 to 20%, quite significant. Their LDL cholesterol levels decreased by 5-10%, and their HDL-C increased by 5-10%. So these are the dietary, the nutritional strategies you can use to improve your cholesterol profiles. And again, I don't just say reduce your cholesterol levels. I say improve your profiles because you don't want to reduce your HDL. You want to improve your HDL. So these are the nutritional methods of improving your cholesterol levels. There are also exercise methods. Not all exercise is created equal. There are certain forms of exercise that improve your cholesterol profiles and others that don't. In one meta-analysis of 31 studies, when people with dyslipidemia did cardio, there were actually no meaningful differences in lipid profiles. Imagine how disappointing is that. You're spending a lot of time and energy. You're running, or swimming, or cycling, or rowing, and nothing happens to your cholesterol levels. Now, there are other benefits to that. There are other improvements in heart health, just not your cholesterol levels. In this meta-analysis, the people were divided into 4 groups based on their frequency and intensity. And if you're wondering, what does intensity mean? Intensity is calculated as a percent of your maximal heart rate. It's your pulse. It's your heart rate. Your max heart rate is 220 minus your age. The closer you get to that, the higher the intensity is. So what were the 4 groups? Group number 1 did cardio 2 days per week at a low intensity, below 70% of their heart rate max. Group number 2 did 2 days per week at a higher intensity, over 70% of heart rate max. Group number 3 did 3 or more days per week at a low intensity, under 70%. And group number 4 did 3 or more days per week at a higher intensity, over 70%. So you can see different variations, and yet the results were the same for all groups, which is no difference to their cholesterol, LDL, or HDL. There was, however, a drop in their triglyceride levels, which is not terribly significant. So that's cardio. Although it's very, very good for your heart health, it doesn't really do very much for your cholesterol levels. What does? Well, let's take a look at what strength training does. In one study of obese women with an average age of 68, they were divided into 2 groups. Group number 1 was the control group. Group number 2 was the strength training group. The strength training group made no dietary changes, which is good. We want to see the effect of strength training only, not strength training plus weight loss. They exercised 3 days per week and they did 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps of a full body workout. After 8 weeks, there were no changes in the control group, but impressive changes in the group that did strength training. Here's what happens. So their total cholesterol didn't change, but their LDL cholesterol decreased by 36%. Their HDL increased by 13.2%, and their triglycerides dropped by 7.7%. Significant improvements in cholesterol profiles from the right strength training approach. Not just body pump classes, because that's not strength training, that's cardio with weights. Not just lifting light weights, using the right amount of weight with the right frequency, etc., etc. Not only did their cholesterol profiles improve, there were other benefits. Their inflammation, as measured by C-reactive protein, CRP, that decreased by 25%. Their body fat only dropped by 1.2%, which tells you that the greatest benefit of strength training is not even in the fat loss. It's actually in the reduction of inflammation and improving the cholesterol profiles. And their trunk fat, in their belly fat, dropped by only 0.6%, which shows you that the greatest benefits from strength training don't even come from any changes to body composition. They come from just strength training. There's something inherent to strength training that helps you A, improve your heart health, but B, also improve your lipid profiles. If you want help devising the right strength training routine for your cholesterol levels, as well as your heart health and your muscle mass in general, we help people like that all over the world. We have an application form in the link in the description below where you can apply for a quick 10 to 15 minute Zoom chat to see whether we can help you. There's no pressure, no obligation, no sales pitch, just a quick chat to see whether we can help you. Or if you're not ready for that yet, what we can do is we have a free newsletter with lots more information about improving your lipid profiles and more. If you click on the other link in the description below, you'll be able to subscribe to that and get great information about health.